Abdicator. He'll be out for an extended period of time here. I don't know the exact timeline. Depends on how it heals, but I would say minimum 3 weeks. And could be longer than that. We'll just keep giving you updates as the healing process goes. Mid body.
Tough loss, obviously, but he had been pretty solid here.
I think Abby's played good. I think he's played good here, and I thought he did a good job. He obviously had the injury earlier and had to come back, and now he's got another injury, so it's tough for him for sure. I appreciate the sacrifice that he makes. So it's unfortunate, but it is, it's part of the game, and so we recalled Giovanni Smith, and so we got 13 forwards heading out west.
Is Smith a good guy to plug in, if you can plug in the fourth line, just with the abrasiveness and the physicality that he can bring?
He fits in that fourth line well. I think he brings. He can keep that line an element. I think that line's been pretty good for us. Really, the Larkin line and that line have been two of our better lines throughout the season at different times, and so he can add to that abrasiveness, physicality, forechecking, net presence, the things that are important to us. So it'll be good to have him up.
What has he done in the last year to get his game to where it is? Because he didn't start so smoothly in the AHL.
Well, one, he's worked hard. He's worked hard over the last number of summers and worked hard, over the last couple of years. I also, my biggest thing would be simplified his game through the neutral zone from the top of the circle in our end to the blue line. He's decided to skate with it, get pucks in behind, and do what he does best, which is forecheck, ozone grind, net presence, things like that. So if I had one word that explains why he's coming, it's he's simplified his game in a good way.
He seems to understand. He plays within himself. Do you think maybe last year, was it just basically his first year pro, was it growing pains, or was it more of a, just getting acclimated to life as a professional hockey player?
Yeah, I think part of it's just becoming a pro in a sense, more of though, like when you're in junior, you're able to get away with certain things, and because maybe you're a bigger person or a better athlete or a better hockey player than the ones you're going against, you get into pro, and all of a sudden everybody's pretty close to equal, and you got to find ways to be successful, and he's done a good job of simplifying his game. So I think the word playing within himself is something he didn't do when he first came, and part of that is because he didn't have to in junior, and now good for him, and good coaching by Ben Simon made him aware of it, and he understood it, and he simplified his game.
Is that maybe the biggest transition a player has to make, is to find their level, what kind of player they are? I can remember several Red Wings, they were all 50-goal scorers in junior, but some of them had to learn how to become a grinder at the NHL level.
Yeah, everybody plays the half wall in junior in the power play, and up front. Like I think one of the hard challenges for lots of guys, especially guys that were offensive, if they come and if their skill set isn't elite at the NHL level, just because it was elite in junior doesn't mean it's elite, because it's all comparable to the players that are around you. Then you got to find different ways to be successful. I'm not saying that was necessarily the case with him, but for him it wasn't this huge transformation, but it just a minor adjustments through the neutral zone, simplifying his game, and he's done a good job with it.
How about Anthony? He knows he can be better, and you have tried over the course of the years to get the most out of him. I mean, is that how difficult sometimes is it to relate to him when you both are on the same page but you can't get to the same result?
Well, first of all, I'd say let's take everything in totality. He's been our most dangerous offensive player all season. So let's start there with the fact he's had a really good start to the year, and he's been our most dangerous offensive player. Is he perfect every night? No. Is anybody in this room perfect every night? No. Is it evident when he's not moving his feet? Yes. He's 6'5". When he moves his feet, he's really fast. When he doesn't move his feet, you can tell. Everybody in the building can tell. That doesn't mean other guys don't have lots of nights where they're not, where they're at their maybe 80%. But let's use B game, where they're playing their B game, but you don't even know it as a fan or a reporter, as a coach. Although I would say I usually know it. With regards to Anthony, he scored 80 goals in 80 games in junior, and he would self-admit standing still. And he could just do it. He was big. He held onto the puck. He could do it. He's had to change habits. That does not happen overnight, nor has it happened overnight. He's worked very, very hard at it. I'm super proud of the effort that he's put into it. Again, is it perfect? No, but man, he's been a pretty darn good player for us this year, and we're glad we have him.
Some of it's probably the new guys who have come in. Some of it's probably not changing after winning. winning streak. But with Taro, is that something you guys are going to have to consider what to do with him here as he's not playing?
Somebody's going to be 13 and potentially 14. That's just the reality. Somebody's sitting out. I don't necessarily think that we're sitting here today and saying, okay, we're going to have Taro out for an extended period of time. I don't think Taro played poorly. I think he wasn't able to be as effective offensively as he had hoped to start the year. It doesn't mean he can't be later on. And so right now he's just kind of the odd guy sitting out. But we'll see. We'll take that day by day and see if he gets in here soon. If he gets in here soon, then he'll have to play well. But we'll take that day by day.
Kind of alluded to it, but what bumped him out? Just not enough production?
I think like our power play wasn't going at a real great rate. We brought Fabs in. I was going to put Fabs in the power play. That kind of bumped him off. Anyway, at Taro's size and speed, he has to really learn how to be unbelievably crafty. And I'm not saying you can't, but like wall battles are really hard for him because he's getting out-muscled. So he's got to find ways to be unbelievably crafty to make sure he keeps possession of the puck. He's got to find ways to be unbelievably crafty to win one-on-one puck battles. And that sometimes takes time. And he had played fine, but obviously we don't score enough, and our power play wasn't good enough. And he's somebody that if he's anything, he's going to be an offensive player, and he hadn't quite been offensive enough.
He's a facilitator first, but have you noticed just from compared to last year, is he maybe a little bit more tentative, maybe a little bit, seems like maybe scared to make a mistake? Or
no, I don't see that. I don't honestly see that at all. That's not the way I saw it, at least. I think he's made some plays, to be honest with you. They haven't ended up in the net. That's not necessarily his fault. He's put pucks on guys' sticks, and they haven't ended up in the net. And I just think that for whatever reason, offensively was able to have more success. Was that playing with early played with Nielsen and Vanek, and then later played with Double A. I'm not sure. I can't answer the question. I just know that he hadn't been quite as productive, and I know that for a guy that with his size and speed, if he's not really productive, then he's probably not bringing tons of other elements to the game. He's a very, very smart player. He's very smart defensively. So I never had any worries of putting him on the ice against anybody, to be honest with you. I think he's a really good defensive player. In the end, he just wasn't quite, for a short period of time, and quite been as productive as I'd like him to be. And when he goes back in, I'm hoping he's more productive.
What kind of a jolt have you gotten from Brady these first 2 years?
Well, Fabry's been obviously, real good in a couple different, he's made some offensive plays. That he scored the 2 goals early in the power play, and I think that power play is kind of on a real short period of time looked pretty solid. And then the play he made, the area pass to Mantha last night was a real good player, and he's a pretty responsible player. You can tell he's been well coached by 3 real good coaches in St. Louis, and he's a responsible player, and he's played hard for us. So he's given us a good boost.
Jeff, can you assess Perlini, and where do you think he's at? I know he didn't play much for Chicago. Is it still kind of a transitional period for him?
Like anybody, I think when you go through a tough go, sometimes confidence is hard to attain to the level you want it. And I don't want to speak for him; he can speak for himself that way. But I think that last night, he showed flashes over the last number of games of being big, of winning a battle, of putting himself in offensive positions, of using his speed. He took it to the net hard last night. He had a real shot in the slot last night. If that puck goes in, then we say he had a really good game, and it didn't go in, but maybe it goes in next time. So I think he's taking steps in the right direction.
He was talking about how he thinks he can kind of trace Hronek's ascension back to his world championships and how strong he was there. You've seen a lot of guys go through that process and then come in. Is there an impact that guys can get? How much can they get out of playing well there?
Well, I think playing well, it can really give you confidence. We saw it with Larks a number of years ago. We saw it with Hronek. Mantha had a real good Worlds last year. Just I think when you end up in situations where there's some of the very best players in the world there, and you have a really good tournament, it gives you confidence that you can play with and be really good with the best players in the world, and that's a great thing. So I think Hronek, Mantha, Larkin have all benefited from their time at the Worlds.
Are you a little bummed that you're going out west? I mean, you're a UP guy. I mean, winter wonderland outside. This is your kind of weather, your element, Jeff.
Yeah, I love winter. I really do. I'm not glad I'm not mad I'm leaving though.
Well, what do you guys need to do to maintain this roll out there? I got 3 heavy teams, 3 bigger teams out there, basically. So what's the key out there?
two big keys that I think are keys every night in this league, and that's special team and goaltending. And we've gotten that the last couple of nights. I think we outchanced Vegas by our standard, 14-12 last night. It was a close game. Those games can go either way. In the end, we got a couple big saves at huge moments, and we out specially teamed them. So that to me, I think 5-on-5 we've played fairly good hockey. I've said that lots. That's what the underlying stats say. We got to win the specialty teams battle enough nights. We got to get good goaltending, and we've got that the last couple nights.